Hi there. In this lecture we see Andrejs Petersons against Mikhail Tal in 1958. We see c4. Now Tal adopts a very straightforward system against the English opening, which is, in my view, worth noting. Knight f6. We see g3, and White's cozy kind of idea is just to reinforce the d5 square. What could possibly go wrong with this strategy? Well, Tal actually plays e5. We see bishop g2. And now the top priority is given to actually kind of restraining this bishop on this diagonal. Tal plays a move which is a construction of the center, c6. White tries to keep control of d5, but Tal rebels with d5. After c takes, how hypermodern is this? Can White actually punish this situation? Queen b3 is played, and it does, I have to say, remind me of a kind of correspondence game I once played at an investment company I was working for at the time. And my opponent did crush me, and I annotated it at chessboard, actually. I thought, oh, it was great to find a good opponent, actually. I was celebrating finding a great opponent. And he had actually played, basically, this setup against me. I basically played in a similar way to White here. And we have Black simply playing, guess what, for 100 points. What does Black simply play here? Which actually cast doubt on this whole Queen b3 expedition. And that's what makes this a very simple, straightforward kind of opening to use against the English opening, because it's rebelling against what English players want, control of d5. And it seems, well, they're going to punish you, but it's a kind of punishment of a punishment here. So what does Tal play? Simple and strong. It's actually just knight c6, saying, well, you know, this is a kind of gambit now. I've developed another piece. You know, are you one of Paul Morphy's opponents, those guys that never moved their pieces in the opening, they just left them as spectators? We see d3, because if knight takes d5 here, knight d4 is strong. As example, if knight takes f6, check, queen takes f6, and look at Black's piece development for the pawn. And there's an issue with c2 now. White has to play another pawn move. And after rook c8, what does White do now? White has to lose castling rights. And this is the kind of thing I had with the White pieces and lost horribly. But as I say, sometimes losing horribly, you can celebrate, because it means, well, there's a strong opponent to play other games with. But yeah, this is a very unfortunate opening sequence if this happened. Black's just got a big advantage here. With pressure potentially on f2, White's going to have to just grovel for the rest of the game. Meanwhile, Black's going to use the c file and infiltrate, and it's going to be painful. So, yeah. So, basically, White decided to play d3. But this is still a very ineffectual opening now after d4, knight d5. We see knight takes d5, bishop takes d5. And here, unfortunately, you know, bishop b4 check. Ouch. White is losing castling rights. Now queen e7, because White is potentially threatening bishop takes and queen takes b4. So this holds the b4 bishop. We see bishop g5 trying to tease the queen away from b4. So now, if Tal played queen takes g5, this is only a small advantage for Black. So better to do what Tal plays, which is just f6. We have bishop c1 going all the way back. How miserable is this when pieces have to go back to the first rank and White has even lost castling rights? Yeah, this is a very interesting system if you get this all the time against the English opening. We see now a forcing move, knight a5. The queen is going back now. I mean, this is total misery. We see queen d6 and the bishop is going back. Now bishop e6. And White actually could have resigned quite easily after this next move. So maybe he's just totally annoyed by what's happened in this game. And Black's development and plans are super easy from here. You know, just casting, use the c file. There's a wealth of plans in this position. But White plays the move a3. And yes, as well as an awareness of forcing moves, the forcing moves are sometimes based on the weakness of the very last move. So I hope you can spot what Mikhail Tal plays here for 100 points, which should have been a game ender, really. So black to play. What do you think Tal plays? There's a weakness of the last move. So when we talk about weaknesses of the last move, it's one of my favourite expressions in kind of, forms of boxing or karate. If you go to throw a punch, you're sometimes leaving a weakness. The energy transfer is leaving a weakness. And here, the energy transfer to put more energy into b4 is at the expense of the energy that was guarding b3. So that's a kind of weakness of the last move, which we can tap into, in fact, here. So I hope you found it. Bishop b3. And we've actually just checkmated the opponent's queen. So yeah, total and unmitigated disaster for the English opening. Not a good advert for the English opening, this game. White could have resigned here, but carried on for a bit. So a takes, bishop takes d1. There's not enough material for the queen, as you might expect. So Tal simply gets on with things, tries to exchange off the bishop there, sets up a nice battery. So threatening now f5 to win further material. So bishop d2 is played. Rook ac8, just in case rook c1 to be annoying, but that's ruled out now. f3 is played to address f5. If rook c1, then black can just take on c1. For example, here is checkmate. Otherwise, black's just lost, a rook. Yeah, that's not very nice. So f3 is played, f5, e4. Yeah, I mean, the rook's x-raying the king. White really should have resigned. Bishop b4, h6, knight h3. Now e takes, and white thankfully resigns after bishop takes f3. Total unmitigated disaster of a game. Perhaps white didn't want to lose within 20 moves. But I show you this game, as I say, because I've actually played with white once, I have to admit. But, I did have other games on the go in my defense, at Chess World, my correspondence server. I did have other games on the go. But yeah, a very, very simple and strong, surprisingly strong opening for black is to grab central control with e5, grabbing d4, the corresponding d4. And now instead of a development move here, just aiming simply to blunt the bishop. We have tons and tons of theory, but this is such a basic idea. Just blunt the bishop as top priority and make it a gambit if needed, if white tries to punish this approach. So be ready to punish the punishment with knight c6, which that's been a major upside. We've vacated the c6 square. We've also got a semi-open, not a semi-open file, we've got a shared c file here. So yes, it becomes a beautiful gambit if it was accepted, but it wasn't. And in this case, again, white's going backwards here and forfeiting casting rights. It's a very, very dramatic punishment of the English opening, basically. And this is just a losing move. So, okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Something to think about as far as the opening is concerned, at least. Thanks very much. Hi there. Thanks for getting to the end of the YouTube video. If you would like to see other Mikhail Tal games, I actually have an amazing course for Mikhail Tal, which is currently at 4.9 with over 400 students. You can check this out from the Kingscrusher TV page. So Chess Strategy and Tactics, Mikhail Tal's amazing games. You can check out some free preview videos as well here. If you do expand all sections, you can see the preview links to get some free previews. So I hope you do check out this course index and the free previews. So I really had a thrilling time actually checking out Mikhail Tal's games. So yeah, the YouTube video here you saw was just a sample from this course. I hope you check it out. Okay, thanks so much. Oh, by the way, comments, questions, likes, shares, all appreciated. And if you did get to this part of the video, please do leave some sort of comment like Tal fan. Okay, thanks again.